Hi there and welcome to Apple World. So it seems that the connection between Jay-Z and Rihanna isn't quite as amazing as we suspected in light of the fact that from the things that she just uncovered, Jay-Z purportedly attempted to end her life on the first day that they just met. The young lady got out whatever she wanted, and she likewise guaranteed that he constrained her to sign to Def Jam Records, securing her in a space for over 24 hours and declining to let her leave. There has been discussion about how Jay-Z will be close to being uncovered after Diddy, and it seems as though Rihanna is getting this show on the road on the grounds that the things she is uncovering are simply wild. Everyone knows that Rihanna and Jay-Z have forever been close, but we never respected it since he resembles her guide in the business. When Rihanna was just 16 years of age, she came to the US from Barbados to try out for Jay-Z, and La Ree wound up dazzling them so much that L.A. Reid trained Jay-Z to sign her preceding other record names. Jay-Z then took her to his office, where he made her hold on until 30 a.m. to sign a 6-month collection contract with Def Jam. We have known this piece of the story for quite a long time, and we low-key thought it was adorable. Jay-Z saw such a lot of potential in Rihanna that he just needed to sign her, and he went through hours imploring her to sign with his mark anyway. The genuine story is nothing similar to that in light of the fact that, as per Rihanna, there was no asking required. Rather, Jay-Z supposedly threatened to unalive her on the off chance that she didn't sign, taking steps to toss her down from the window of the 27th floor office that they were in. So anxious I was shaking in a real sense, yet the second I strolled into the workplace, the climate was so warm and inviting. You needed to sing a cappella for him. Yes, I needed to sing Fee Play. I sang one more voting form from the collection. Last time, so then what did he share with you? He expressed something to you gracious. Yes, he said, we don't sing tunes here. We sign specialists, and there was this little respite, and I was apprehensive. Over at that point, he said, and we're intrigued, and there was this unexpected feel of alleviation. However, at that point he expressed something about a window, and an entryway or something. Goodness. Then he said he did the schoolwork. I did a ton of schoolwork on you, this woman. He expressed there are two methods for leaving here, either through the entryway with the arrangement sign or through this window, and we on 29th floor. So you resembled, where's the pen, where's the paper, I'm marking better bet. I'll leave it, and I'm certain working with Jay-Z you've met life partner. That is correct. Rihanna attempted to ignore it. However, it was undeniable that her chuckle was constrained. I mean, she was just 16 at the time in a country that she had never been to, and where she didn't know anyone. Her family was in excess of 2,700 miles away in Barbados, and she was under Jay-Z's control. There have been murmurs of Jay-Z purportedly living individuals and pulling off it similar as his best bud Diddy. So Rihanna was unnerved right now, and she concurred to sign the agreement for 6 collections, which basically ensured that she would have been attached to Def Jam for quite a while, and as though that was not obscure enough, she wasn't given the agreement until 30 a.m. Since the agreement was purportedly being drawn up anyway, this doesn't seem okay when you consider it. There's the way that most huge names like Demise Jam have a default layout for contract save, so it ordinarily doesn't require a long time to draw up. In addition to, they, as a rule, have their legal counselors on tap whenever so dislike they needed to go searching for a new legal counselor. Then there are claims that Jay-Z purposely deferred the agreement since he needed to wear Rihanna out. It's obvious loosely trues that individuals are all the more effortlessly impacted when they're worn out, and it seems to be Jay-Z was purportedly depending on this to make it shadier, the way that he demanded that she marked an agreement not too far off, and afterward implies that she didn't have her own legal counselor read through her agreement, and each brilliant individual realizes that you ought to continuously have your legal advisor perused every agreement since you need to safeguard yourself. Likewise, we really want to recollect that she was just 16 at the time, while Jay-Z was 36. So a 36-year elderly person saved a 16-year-old young lady for a really long time, took steps to toss her through of a window, and afterward had her sign an agreement without a legal counselor or a parent or gatekeeper present. I mean, everything turned out for Rihanna toward the day's end. However, that was simply past obscure, yet it goes past that in light of the fact that the circumstance actually got worse with time is right. Anna filled in the business. Jay-Z supposedly constrained her to become someone that she wasn't. You all recall that great young lady turning sour energy that she had happening at the time, while Jay's constrained it on her and supposedly took steps to drop her. As a matter of fact, she wasn't the main little kid on Death Jam who Jay-Z was attempting to drive into the entire great young lady turning sour stuff on the grounds that Crown Marie, who is likewise at Death Jam, was additionally being compelled to do exactly the same thing, despite the fact that she was in secondary school at the time. Headband couldn't do that, and she was dropped from the name anyway. Jay-Z couldn't concede that he dropped her, since she would have rather not been a miscreant, since that would have made him seem to be a crackpot. Rather, he guaranteed that the explanation he dropped her was that her presentation collection, Rockefeller Records Presents Headband Marie, was a failure. The collection sold 69,000 duplicates in the principal week and diagrammed at number 5 on the Bulletin 200 and number 2 on the board. Top R&B and hip jump collections diagram. Now these are respectable numbers for a youngster on the grounds that most craftsmen don't for even a moment graph at the main 10 of the Bulletin 200 for their most memorable collection, so its best 5 debut collection was great. However, the mark guaranteed that they were after more than simply great, so they went with the choice to drop her from the name and vibe of her low collection sells. However, at that point, a long time after her collection dropped, Rihanna's presentation collection likewise dropped, and fascinatingly, it additionally sold 69,000 duplicates in the primary week, precisely the same units as Crown. Considerably more fascinating, Music of the Sun just got to number 10 on the Bulletin 200, which implies that it diagrammed lower than Crown's collection by the rationale that the name utilized with headdress Rihanna ought to have been dropped out. So right, well, Rihanna was ready to be the troublemaker. I mean, she even named her third collection Great Young Lady Turning Sour, which lets us know all that could possibly be needed. However, at that point, dislike Rihanna needed to do those things, since she has now uncovered that she profoundly laments the things she moved in the day, particularly since she's a mother. Now I have my out and I have my underwear out. It's going to sound hypocritical yet, because I accomplished such a great deal in my life as a mother and like a developed young woman. Youthful accentuation on youthful, they're simply things that I just feel like I could never do, or I'm very much like, wow, I truly did that. However, there's more than that, since I know you all have caught wind of the relative multitude of reports about Jay-Z and Rihanna having a bit something happening as an afterthought, on the grounds that the tales were wherever. Ultimately, her marketing expert approached to concede that he made up the report since he needed to push Rihanna's vocation and give her some exposure. He said, the PR stunt that I did was out of urgency to help break Pandora replay. He composed, it was careless, and I didn't think it planned to work. I was simply tossing spaghetti at the wall to see what would stick. I didn't figure it would be this real issue, yet presently realizing that individuals are benefiting from hypotheses and conclusions about her truly turns my stomach. I'm embarrassed that I'm in any event discussing this. I simply need to settle this talk for the last time. Many individuals didn't buy this in light of the fact that every one of the marketing specialists' work is to tidy up the picture of their client, regardless of whether it includes lying, and the talk was making Rihanna look incredibly terrible at the time. Jay-Z was at that point with Beyonce, and assuming there's one thing we know, it's just the B colony doesn't mess with Beyonce. You all skill, they've come after each lady who thinks about coming after Jay-Z, and the last thing Rihanna required was for the B colony to betray her this entirety show. With Jay-Z, sort of makes sense of why Rihanna hasn't given us new music for a considerable length of time, and it's beginning to seem as though we are never getting new music from her fans. Remarked that is the reason the media outlet likes youngsters. They are not difficult to control. This is unsatisfactory and amateurish. Panther said the record EXs were selecting little kids to fly out on a personal luxury plane without going to movement to take back to Jay-Z. I don't fault her for not having any desire to do music any longer. She did her time. Subscribe Apple World for more videos.